This is Rahul Magan here is the Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting LLP, and today we would be covering another dedicated topic, which is XVA desk, flow desk till credit protection. As we very well understand that next year is going to be a wonderful year for Treasury function. The reason being lot of regulatory changes are happening. MiFID second is coming on 3rd January 2018. Approximately 28th May 2018, SFTR is coming, Security Finance Transaction Regulation. We have in 2019, FRTB is coming, Fundamental Review of the Trading Book is coming. And as far as some news is concerned, that Basel IV is also on the cards. And there are a lot of action which is happening on the BIS website and across the globe as far as the Basel IV is concerned. Practically speaking, there is a lot of action on the banking front also. I'm not talking about Indian banking because this video do not have anything as far as the Indian banking is concerned, because as a country India is on Basel II, it's not on Basel III, and to reach to Basel III, practically speaking, you would be needing another $90 billion of cash to basically to pump up the capital adequacy ratio. And we are not here to discuss that from where you will get this $90 billion of cash and how you would be pumping up. So these are something which we should not discuss. Now, as far as the global banking is concerned, there are a lot of regulatory changes are going on. The banks are also prepared pertaining to that. And specifically when we talk about the banks like Goldman Sachs, especially G7 banks, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, UBS, they all are prepared. I think very well prepared as far as the MiFID second is concerned. And these XVAs are concerned. There's so many people who in fact do not know the meaning of XVA. They believe that XVA is another kind of valuation adjustment. No, X stands for count. So sitting today we have 7 types of valuation adjustment. And if you are a company or if you are a bank who is dealing with the global clients, you have to be through these valuation adjustment. And of course, I forgot to mention that 1st April 2018, the entire globe will welcome IFRS 9. And IFRS 9, IFRS 7, IFRS 13 and IFRS 3, which is business combination, disclosures, IFRS 13 fair valuation and IFRS 9 and derivative valuation is going to completely remapping the world. XVA will play a very important role there. Now, sitting today, the 7 types of XVA are CVA, credit value adjustment, which is the cost of a counterparty. Example, if Genpact is taking a position with JP Morgan Chase would be hedging this in the credit risk market, provided Genpact may default. DVA, it is a hedge of JP Morgan in the market, but what if JP Morgan would default? FVA, funding valuation adjustment. We often talk about CAR, capital adequacy ratio. To have that capital adequacy ratio, we should be having a lot of funds in the books by a bank. So take an example, if Genpact today come to JP Morgan and give him a business of $500 million, assuming that the margin which you need to maintain on these $500 million is approximately say 8%. It means that 500 into 8, which is $40 million of additional capital would be required by JP Morgan Chase on behalf of Genpact. Of course, JP Morgan Chase would be charging for that from Genpact, but seriously speaking, that $40 million they will come from where? Either it come from equity or it will come from own sources, or might be both. There is a cost it's come from debt, equity, or both, right? There is a cost, and that cost has to be charged from the client, and that cost is known as FVA, funding valuation adjustment, right? And then we have LVA. It's pretty recent, very new, liquidity valuation adjustment. We are planning a dedicated video on LVA, which is liquidity valuation adjustment. We have COLVA, which is collateralized valuation. We have MVA, and which is margin valuation adjustment, and we have KVA, which is capital valuation adjustment. These 5 or 6 or 7 indicators which we have. But how a bank maintain these indicators? Now we are talking about that G7 banks are predominantly dealing with these valuation adjustment. Now how G7 banks are maintaining these? Now generally what a corporate people do, corporate people give a call to a bank. Say JP Morgan Chase US, Goldman Sachs US, Citi US, Deutsche Europe, or anyone. You would not call to a bank. See, the person who is interacting with you is not a trader actually. He is a salesperson. But of course, there are companies like ExxonMobil, I would say Saudi Aramco, maybe Oilers, Unlocal, Petronas, China Mobile, a lot of others. They are directly deal with the traders. But 98% of the companies deal with the salespeople. They don't deal with the traders. Actually, they deal with the salespeople. They don't deal with the traders. So when you call, you actually deal with the salespeople. It is a first line of defense in a bank. Well, defense is not a right word. Salespeople means the first level of interaction. Salespeople are connecting with the traders. This is actually a flow desk of a bank. They maintain the flow. Generally speaking, across the globe, you name any country, US, Europe, Sweden, Denmark, choose any country. What exactly they do? They maintain the flow. What is the flow? There are only two kind of flows which we have across the globe, which is current account and capital account. You go where? You go to US, Europe, London, Luxembourg, Frankfurt, Germany, France. It's either a current account or a capital account transaction. It's basically a flow desk. Now, from where a flow desk? They are the salespeople. They are in touch with the corporates. Example, they are in touch with the Saudi Aramco and they try and understand that Saudi Aramco want a big money. They are in touch with Unlocal. Unlocal wanted to import some oil, or they are in touch with some other company. He wanted to do this, and so on and so forth. These all salespeople are connecting with the traders. Sometimes non-deliverable traders, sometimes both. Please be note that I am not using a word non-deliverable forward. I am using a word non-deliverable traders. So they are in touch with both non-deliverable traders and traders. Who is a non-deliverable trader? Example. ExxonMobil is an American entity. ExxonMobil US is calling to JP Morgan Chase US. And JP Morgan Chase US salespeople is taking a quote from JP Morgan London. It's a non-deliverable. Or JP Morgan Chase US people taking a quote from JP Singapore. Or he's taking a quote from, I would say JP Europe or maybe any part of the globe. It's a non-deliverable. Sometimes they take it from deliverable. Of course, these both non-deliverable and deliverable traders are of separate types. One is a spot trader, one is an option trader, one is a forward trader, which is NDF trader, one is a swap trader, one is a OIS trader, overnight index swap, and they are of multiple categories actually. So this is non-deliverable trader, how exactly it moves, right? Then all these non-deliverables traders, before moving to the interbank, there is a general perception that when a deal is happening, a particular trader will take a quote from interbank. This is not wrong and this is not right also. This was right till few years ago when valuation adjustments were not there. But this is not right. Before moving here, I would like to summarize one thing which is very clear. Not all the banks in this globe, including G7 banks, are on valuation adjustment. They are calculating R7. And at the same time, I also would like to add that all the banks, it's not that none of the banks calculated even a 1. Like the foreign entities of, the Indian entities of foreign bank, JP India, Standard Chartered India, HSBC India, Deutsche India, Barclays India, Goldman Sachs is having very little exposure, Westpac, ANZ India, they have started charging CVA in their books. In fact, I might be technically incorrect here. They started charging net of CVA and DVA. DVA is their cost and CVA is the cost of a corporate client. CVA minus DVA, the net which they have started charging, right? Now, what exactly is happening when these banks go to interbank to take the quote? Actually, before taking the quote, in between we have somebody which is the valuation adjustment desk. Now, how this valuation adjustment desk work, it depends completely on a bank. Banks like Goldman Sachs have not one valuation adjustment desk, they have all. Like sitting today, which is 27th December, currently I am in India. We are shooting a video. Of course, it's a Christmas. It's just we are just one day from 1 day past Christmas, and markets are not moving high. But on the contrary, assume it's a January or a February, market is 24/7. Goldman Sachs SVA desk, G7 banks like Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, HSBC, I would say Bank of America, Barclays, Citi, they cannot maintain on one XVA desk. They maintain their position on number of XVA desks. Now this XVA desk, it's something very important. This SVA desk will take up a call whether you would like to calculate all, credit valuation adjustment, debit valuation adjustment, funding valuation adjustment, margin valuation adjustment, liquidity value adjustment, COLVA, and KVA also, which is capital valuation adjustment. Either of that, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, maybe all seven. Once they take up the call, they will decide, because what a bank actually do, either it's a forward, option, swap, FRA, OIS, any product, NDF, non-deliverable forward. What a bank do? Banks sometimes a buyer, sometimes a seller. Of course, they take a mirror image in the interbank market. If they are buyer, in interbank they are seller. If they are seller, in the interbank they are buyer. Now forget interbank for a while. Banks are both interbank buyer, banks are both seller and buyer. When banks are both seller and buyer, if a bank is a seller, then it is XVA seller. If bank is a buyer, then it is a XVA buyer. It is the job of this XVA desk to be both the position. This protection sellers and this protection buyers. Bank will take up a call. Nobody else will take up a call. And the net cost has to be in the books of bank and of course charged from the client. This is something which is not an upfront cost. We need to understand that. If XVA desk is paying a credit premium of 10 cents to suppose Genpact US come to JP Morgan Chase US and want to take up a non-deliverable position, and JP Morgan US agreed a rate, and of course they would be hedging Genpact in the market. What would if Genpact would default? And of course, suppose the cost is, here they need protection sellers. Suppose the cost is 10 cents. That cost would be upfront paid by this desk to a protection seller. Now this cost actually not being charged from Genpact. This cost would be the net rate of Genpact minus this cost. This cost has to be paid upfront but going to be charged from the Genpact rate. So it's something a kind of non-cash expense. Of course, at the end, bank will never be in the loss. That let me clarify you, right? That cost is a very important thing. It's just like your car insurance. With due respect, what would if Genpact defaults? If Genpact would defaults, all would be an issue. CVA, DVA, FVA, MVA, KVA, FVA, LVA, and COLVA. And the very important thing, which is CVA, is going to be compensated from this protection seller. And once XVA desk will calculate the price, they will pass this price to either deliverable traders or non-deliverable traders, and they are going to include this price where they are going to give the net of pricing, and the net of pricing will go to salespeople, and the salespeople will give to the corporate client. And this happens so fast right now because of the financial terminals like Reuters and Bloomberg. They all are integrated with each other. This happens so fast that the bank traders started feeling that, boss, the corporate people started feeling that, boss, I think it's not being calculated. But no, because of the proprietary system, it's going too fast that everything is getting calculated. And once they will give the quote, these traders will go to the interbank to further hedge that. So Goldman Sachs is taking a position from JP Morgan. JP Morgan will go to XVA desk. XVA desk will decide either we are protection buyer or protection seller. Reason being, at a point of time, banks are both protection buyer as well as a protection seller. And then they will go in the interbank position, which is Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, UBS, Standard Chartered, and the list is endless. And these interbank position will further have their XVA desk. So before giving the quote, they will take the quote from their XVA people, and they will share with. They practically share that. The moral of the story is valuation adjustment will play a very important role in 2018. The hard reality is, which has been published in a lot of research, not all the banks in this globe have valuation adjustment. Of course, the banks like Goldman Sachs have their proprietary system to calculate valuation adjustment, but every bank is not Goldman Sachs, and every bank cannot be Goldman Sachs. At the same time, even the banks like Goldman Sachs, they are not computing all seven. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That is also a hard reality. And of course, it's a client to client and it's a derivative to derivative position also. Because nowhere it has mentioned that you need to take all seven in your books. It's up to a bank. So, and we understand that in foreign exchange, pricing is always client sensitive. That is something which is we need to accept that. 2018 would be the year of regulatory, when these valuation adjustment would be very important, and these valuation adjustment would, I would say, play a very important role as far as the valuation of derivative is concerned. On the contrary, 2018, 1st April 2018, we would be welcome IFRS, and hopefully we would have Basel III in 2018, provided Reserve Bank would approve that. I don't know how it would happen, but only the time would be telling. In short, all corporates, Genpact, WNS, Cognizant, Sapient, Accenture, Microsoft, TCS, Infi, and predominantly all importers, Reliance, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, and the sideliners. Sideliners means those who hedging both, Reliance, L&T, TCS, import side and export side. They would have XVA in their book. All corporates left only with two options. Option number one, and which is 99% corporate are going to be taking up, which is to get the valuation of XVA, they would be completely dependent upon the bank. So whatever a bank is giving, they would be agreeing to it. They are not going to fight it. This is something which is something not new for Indian corporates. Another thing, you would be acting as an independent player, and you would be having your own XVA valuation desk wherein you will calculate the valuation and give it to the bank. I'm not saying that the bank would disregard their valuation. Bank surely going to be check it out. But more or less you should have that. Of course, for that proprietary systems are in place. You should understand how to evaluate. There are a lot of modeling which is required. And of course, agreement and disagreement is something which is a part of foreign exchange. This is something which we would like to discuss, which is the XVA flow desk to credit protection. And very important thing before winding up this video is something which is credit protection. I simply told that it's going to be 10 cents. But boss, there are a variety of credit instruments which we have, which is CDS, single name CDS, multi-name CDS, single trans CDS, single trans CDS, multi-trans CDS, single trigger CDS, multi-trigger CDS, credit till, first till default swap, nth till default swap, and the list is endless. This credit protection a bank is buying for a position Genpact is taking with JP Morgan, and JP Morgan to hedge this in the interbank market, and the rate this interbank is giving is net of XVA. This is something credit protection is bank to bank basis. So JP Morgan might be doing FTD, first till default swap. On the other hand, suppose this interbank player is HSBC. HSBC is only taking a CDS protection. So this is a very we of course planning a video on that. The kind of credit instrument a bank is choosing, it's something dependent on the bank. Cannot be disputed. It might be possible that JP Morgan is charging a cost of 10 cents from Genpact US. On the contrary, had it been done from HSBC, HSBC might be charging only 8 cents. It's something very subjective, which kind of instrument a bank is taking, how and what is the policy. But the moral of the story, at the end, before winding up this video, 2018, there is going to be a wonderful debate that's going to happen on XVA. Pricing would surely be an issue. Till now, not many corporates are being charged. They are not worried, but I'm sure that sooner or later they are going to be worried because they are being charged for that. Of course, in media and all the public domain, the pricing would be an issue. At the end, don't forget that our fixed income platform is around the corner, just 10 to 15 days more. And this fixed income platform would let you know that how to price the credit valuation adjustment. And with this fixed income platform, you are welcome to contact us on our KPO lines, which is right here, 911111 actually is an Indian code, 401997774. Our website www.tragicconsulting.in. Our mobile number 9822422978. My Skype ID is Rahul5327. And email is rahul.magan@tragicconsulting.in. We would continue to produce a lot of videos, lot of technical videos, and we are very pleased at the end, very pleased to share that we are very close to a benchmark which is 500 technical videos only on YouTube. Thank you and have a wonderful time ahead. Enjoy your day.